Alrighty then, my name is Terminus. Good day or good evening to all of you whenever you watch this. Today we're gonna react to 𝐸𝐴𝐶 no Frieren episode 24. Holy shit, only I think 4 episodes to go until we're at the end of the fucking series. I'm simultaneously very excited but also very sad that it's gonna be ending soon. I mean, when this is going public, it's probably gonna be less than 4 weeks until Frieren is gone. Holy shit, at least for now. And it's such a great series. It's been such a great series. I'm definitely probably gonna make an opinion piece on Frieren once the last episode has aired. Maybe we're gonna do some analysis here and there, look into some things, and after that we just easily, slowly transition into another series, whatever's gonna come up. I don't have a lot of suggestions as to what's gonna follow that yet, but I do have a little teaser for you. I do have a request that just came in. Somebody who subscribed to my Patreon who kind of dictated in a series that I'm gonna be watching the first episode of. So this is gonna be a very interesting thing. I'm sure there's monstrous things going on, monstrous things ahead. Incredibly interesting, psychological, thrilling things in the near future. That being said, I think we're just gonna get into the Frieren episode and look at what happened last time, because it's been very adventure focused once again. We went from the first class mage exam to like a little interlude where we got to know the characters a little bit more and saw how they interacted with one another and who they grouped up with, more or less, which kind of gave us already an idea in the second class exam when Sensei then said, hey, look, all you need to do is reach the bottom. I don't care if you fight one another. I don't think it makes sense, and it would be a waste of talent if some of you died. Here's your way out. Then we kind of already got a sense of who's probably gonna stick together, and mostly it was the teams that were established. But we also had an exception with Tone, who actually went his own way, which I think makes sense. On the one hand, like I said last time, he wanted to prove himself, but also, in my opinion, it makes sense in that regard that some people might not understand each other, right? I mean, some of them failed probably because they didn't understood each other enough, but here it was just enough for them to actually make it happen and get the 𝐸𝐴𝐶 and succeed on the first exam. But the second exam, they felt like they couldn't trust their teammates enough, or like I said, they wanted to prove themselves, so they went in on their own. But most of them actually decided on teaming up with someone. I'm very curious about, I didn't bring up the episode, I apologize for that. Here it is on the screen. We're not gonna play it because that's gonna get us some copyright issues. The King of the Tomb of the King. Yeah, we do have the established groups, like I said, or here 𝐈𝐴𝐴𝐷 Land. I find it very interesting that actually Frieren's team kind of split up 2 of the teams, right? 𝐈𝐴𝐴𝐷 Land were with Fan, and maybe they would have been open to actually go with Fan again into the labyrinth. And Lavina and Kanne were with Frieren, and they maybe would be willing to go into the labyrinth with Frieren again. But the 2 of them actually teamed up because they had free choice now, which makes this harder for Kanne and Lavina and for 𝐈𝐴𝐴𝐷 Land. On the other hand, I can very well imagine that maybe Kanne and Lavina felt like they only passed the first test because of Frieren's help, and now they want to prove it to themselves that they, as a team of 2, as a dynamic duo, could actually make it through there and succeed on their own. And if they didn't, maybe learn something from it and go in there next time being more prepared for a test like that. I do really like Sensei's attitude. I think, oh, by the way, I said that in passing the last time. I do love this place here where we see 𝐈𝐴𝐴𝐷 looking over her shoulder, and then we cut to Land's scene, actually, which kind of makes that connection, right? 𝐈𝐴𝐴𝐷 is looking at Land, being interested and all that. But yeah, I like Sense's attitude when it comes to how she approaches this thing, where she's like, nobody needs to die here. Don't be stupid. If you're about to die, just break the flask and you're gonna get out of there. You're gonna fail the exam, yeah, but you'll live to see another day, and maybe one day you'll be a first-class mage. But at the same time, having that high standard, being like, okay, you need to reach the bottom to actually call yourself the best of the best, which makes sense. Now, obviously, it also makes sense from a contestant's point of view to be like, are you sure that's the right way to go? A lot of people died in there before they even knew that they could take an easy way out, right? A safe way to actually get them back without having to die immediately. And that is also, I think, very logical in my opinion, since in not reducing the number of mages out there, that they probably, a lot of those mages, the Mage Association poured hours upon years of education into, right? That costs money, it costs manpower, it costs effort. And then to waste that in a test of all things is, in my opinion, not all that reasonable. I mean, sure, mortal danger should always be there, because obviously that is what they have to deal with out in the wild, but I do think that you should take precautions to tell people, okay, because it teaches you something as well, right? Tell people, if you think you can't make it, there's a way out, right? And that teaches you that sometimes there's a situation that you didn't foresee. Maybe it's not even dependent on your capabilities, but you just had bad luck, and people overwhelmed you, and now you're in a situation where you're like, okay, I gotta pull back. I gotta find somebody who helps me with this, or leave it to someone who is better at this. And the same goes for like the teamwork thing. Again, loving 𝐢𝐏 and Land. We're going in, we're strategizing. Frieren just casually walks in like it's like it's her home. And we're cartographed. Oh, I love this shot. Look at this amazing shot, right? The pattern it makes, it's very symmetrical, which in many shots doesn't work, but in this one, like the top-down perspective, it's really cool. It's really unusual, and it makes for interest, right? You want to keep the audience occupied. You want to pique their interest with a lot of shots that you're doing, so you're being playful. You're being playful with it, and that is a thing that I really like in any series, be that a live action, right, Hollywood or whatever, or independent film, or be that an anime. Yeah, going through the dungeon, looking at everything that I love the Goober Frieren moments. Doing everything that we can do to find maybe hidden treasures that are not the main objective, right? That people haven't found yet because they haven't looked for it. And I think that's also part of the joy of going through something like this and exploring. Exploration is a great joy for anybody who's a gamer like me, or yeah, even other people, right? Exploration is a cool thing to do. Even in your D&D campaigns, it's not a lot, right? And it doesn't add anything to the combat or whatever, but to sometimes just branch out a little bit and describe the environment a little bit better, give your players little deeds and doodads and whatnot that they can find if they're being very inquisitive and explorative. I think that is kind of playing very much into our nature as curious humans, curious beings that want to learn new things and discover, and it's really tickling our dopamine sensors. I love Lan's general like posture, right? The way she's just squatting down, or like being in that meditative pose here. Not actually meditative, but you know what I mean, with the legs to the side. She did that, not the exact same thing, but when she was in the first test, she actually was leaning to the ground with like legs to the sides a couple of times when she started to use her like speed magic. I love Methoda's outfit, by the way. It's very simple, but it makes sense, right? It fits into the time. We do have the typical like fantasy-ish middle-age top, white, standard white, which is really nice. We do have the cross going, I don't know how you call them, like the straps, right? And then you have the traditional robe, but underneath you do have the corset in the middle and the short pants with the leggings. It's a really cool design in my opinion, right? Really different from all the others we've seen so far, and I love what they do with that. Denken too, it fits his thing as Imperial Mage perfectly, and when he unrobed and put his robe away in the last exam, I found it very cool, funny, but also fitting how he looked there. He looked a little bit plump, he looked a little bit weird on it, but that, I think, is the intention, because normally you're so used to him being just this robed Imperial Mage type with the monocle. And we do have the I don't know if it's fisheye. I think it's fisheye lens on the mimic, and Frieren being very, very thoughtful and thinking about ways to make to convince herself to actually look for it. The little joke with her pushing and pulling. We have a lot of traps and the gargoyles. I do love the sheer amount of animation that goes into this. If you look at it, right, the weird stone coming to life thing, and we have the attack, and bam, impact shot. She does a cartwheel, rolls it off. The smeary textures on the feet. She's casting in her staff. Looking back, you still have the momentum of where she is, right, with the little frills and movable parts of her clothing going on. Her directing her view here, Gargoyle going in, Denken being the badass that he is. And actually, I think this is something Denken didn't do before, actually, in my opinion. I think I didn't see him do that before. He actually used the Frieren strat with the globe of defensive magic, and then he comes in with the kill shot, right? Piercing through with light magic. I love how it starts like a glittering star, kind of, right? It originates like it's some kind of star in the night sky, and then it pierces through with that shockwave coming off perpendicular to the line going there. And it shatters the gargoyle on its fundamentals, but obviously it's still moving because it's just a piece of equipment here. And then we come in with Lund with his Richter with his earth magic. Just look at how fast this frame is. We have like him starting up the attack, which classic, by the way, with the circle and the X through it. It's a classic way to start any kind of like power energy attack. And then it's just 3 frames. Yeah, 3 frames and it's just done, right? It shows the speed, and we do have the speed lines going on. Really, really cool. Yeah, explosion blast, and she steps in, teamwork, half a circle, right? It's going in. We did that last time I looked at it already, but it's so cool, like how the light blue energy, which is supposedly from her own magic, comes in and closes in on the attack that's meeting the defensive barrier. And then we see like some kind of like just the thing it reminds me the most of is like if you have solar flares on the sun's surface, and then it kind of just wraps around here, and this is when it turns from like asymmetrical, if you see that, asymmetrical, and it turns into symmetrical, which in my opinion symbolizes kind of how the unstable energy that was unstable before has been brought under control, and it's like a flower, like a lotus almost. Bam, and it goes back, right? Goes back through and dissipates the actual beam. I'm being reminded of like the mage battles in Harry Potter, which was very simplistic, right, in their nature. But when you have like the last couple of Harry Potter movies where they both cast a spell and the spells hit one another. But yeah, also very traditional. I did see something different in similar in Jujutsu Kaisen when they represented like two spells being used against one another. It's a very classic thing, and red and blue is especially good for the contrast that's happening here. And the red dissipates and the blue is going directly into his face, and I think from the face on, look at that angle, by the way. That is an angle. Right, that is a good. They're standing on the ground and we're looking up. This is such a cool angle here, and now the face kind of melts and the body melts, and we have that blue explosion and the shockwave, all the splinters off the stone that the gargoyle was made of, and we do have the incredible movement here. Right, she just disappears here. A lot of like. Denkin goes into action and Laufen sees that, right? She's in tune with him. She's like, all right, he's going, I'm going. I love that, how that smudge is it's just disappearing and appearing again, just to symbolize how fast she's actually moving. And we do have this smudge, this spludge of things, and we do see shortly, right? We do see nothing, as to symbolize how fast she's actually jumping and moving, because if you would see it in motion it would seem slower, but if you phase her out in between it looks like in motion it looks like she's super fast, which is amazing, of course. And then we do have obviously the shift of momentum. She's gonna drop on him, and holy shit, is that a shot, right? The staff smears, impact shot on the gargoyle's head, her just squatting on him with the staff down like a spear that's used to finish off an enemy. And we do have the white lines of impact, and her just going down with him, impact on the ground. And that is when the shot comes out, right? The shot comes out of the smoke. I love that, right? You see the blink because the light is so extreme, so bright, and then suddenly the smoke gets dissipated by this energy force that's being redirected, and she wasn't prepared for it and just shortly put up a defensive barrier, but the shockwave got her. But yeah, enough about animation. We're gonna go on. It's really cool how to see, like, just to take some of these scenes apart. Oh, that is a Frieren butt. Don't mind if I do. We talked about this last time. Frieren, Frill Frieren do have the adventuring up and down and all around, and all the myriad of things that she picked up, half of which is probably total trash. And our little talk about motivation, what motivates you, and I think Fen just has to find herself, I guess. And for now, it's enough for her to just be with Frieren and see that she's enjoying it, and then she's enjoying it as well. And I think that's a personality trait that she shares with Frieren, because Frieren also, we had that in one of the earlier episodes, I think episode 4 of Frieren, where we did talk about how Frieren did enjoy the sunset because Fen was enjoying it. And she would have enjoyed the sunset with Himmel and Heiter and Eisen, because they would be enjoying it. And they would be enjoying it even more if she was with them. And then we have the new cool shot, by the way, right? The metal and the flowers. How did he conjure the flowers? I mean, I guess Frieren also made a flower field, so we do have that established. He makes a flower field. I think 𝐏𝐢𝐏 actually makes the flower field, right? Who makes the flower field? Let me see. Yeah, 𝐸𝐴, he knows that. No, Schnell makes the flower field. He can make the flower field himself and then create metal shapes out of it. But we do have a fight. That's the little sharp teeth. We do have the fight against ourselves, and this is also another cool animation piece, right? The whiplash coming in here. It's like a whip, right? And Richter defending against it easily. Although it's kind of you see that I love how that magic, like magic works and how it's represented in that way, that it whips you, but the pieces where you don't have any defense aren't just being dissipated, they just brush past you, right? And you got to be careful that it doesn't close in on you in this way. But we do have her going into action here. The little freeze frame on her being in mid-air. And we do see that this is also Laufen's skill, right? This kind of whip kind of thing that she made her staff out, right? It seems like she used her staff and turned it into a whip. Seems to be a spell that Laufen is actually capable of. If we want to believe what Denken and Richter say a little bit later on, that the thing is probably using their memories as well. We have the running kick, and we're going in here with the swipe and the backflip dodge. Holy shit, this is cool. The clash, we see the sparks flying. She goes in, there's another clash. They're even, right? They're on the same level. Fucking defends it with her legs. Holy shit, those long legs. What the hell? And she kicks it up, right? Kicks it up. By the way, you got to do that. That's respect for that move, to actually get your leg this high when you're in standing posture, and whips it down and goes in for the strike again. And we have that, them being absolutely even, both being thrown back, Richter creating the surface in between so she doesn't see what's happening, and then Denken going in with the normal attack magic, with the modified salt track. Oh no, it's not Denken, actually, it's Methode. Interesting. Methode. Very cool design by Methode. I said it before, it's very cool design. Yeah. Really cool episode in general. And then we have the raid boss, like I said, Frieren. This is gonna be a tough one. I don't know if they'll be able to beat that. I do hope so, because I really like Denken and Richter and Laufen as a team. Methode also seems very interesting, though I don't know her as a person. But personality-wise, I really like the team of them. And I do hope that they actually make the first class mage. That would be something to kind of connect us further down. Maybe Denken is also going to the north, right? He said he had those plans, so it could be an interesting thing to look forward to in the second season, or some way down the line. But yeah, we're gonna get ourselves dug into episode 24, and we're gonna look what awaits us with the Frieren duel. Is gonna be epic as fuck, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah. It's gonna be cool. So let's fucking go. Alright, Frieren episode 24 starts in a 3, a 2, a 1. Epic. And here we go. The hard part. He sure as hell doesn't want to. Round 2, Denken. Round 2. And intro, right? Anata. So what awaits them down in the chamber? I think we still have to wait a couple of episodes till that's revealed. Ooh, Spiegel. Mirror. Right. Perfect. Are they perfect? Yeah, Insam is an illusion. Abilities, mana, and skills. Maybe she wants to see the bottom. Mm-hmm. Ooh, holy shit. Question is, does the replica think like the original? That could be an interesting point to kind of just... Especially if you're not matched up against yourself, like in this case. Ooh, what happened to Yoland? Oh no! And they even... Oh, that is a problem. She even stole the thing. Alright. She calls him glasses. Megame. Oh, so it's mutual. Yeah, okay, it doesn't have this aspect of her. Alright, this is a difference. It's not an exact replica. No, maybe a little bit too. Ooh, oh, he's bleeding a lot. Yeah. Ooh, okay. She's giving up her security for him. Ooh, the animation, holy shit. Maybe... Maybe don't fight like yourself. Maybe that's the answer. Ooh, she's saying that to herself. Oh, the zoom in. Holy shit, that's cool, that's cool. It's not the real land. It's not the real land. Holy shit. And she knew. She fucking knew. Oh, hold on, for free? Maybe she has a death wish. Is it trust or is it a little bit of craziness? Alright, she's turning it around on him, giving him a way to accept it. Alright, fair enough. Not yet. Alright, fair enough. I see the game you're playing there. It's very adorable. Would be interesting if they fought fans replica, and it would be difficult. She's seeing something. Okay. Dungeon expert Frieren. The glee in her eyes. Ooh. That's cool, the statues are moving. It's all going up, right? Oh no, it's going to the side? Okay. Oh, it's like diagonally in Harry Potter, dude. Holy shit. Good old rule, just follow Frieren. Might take you 2 years more to actually reach the end, but you're gonna reach it. Sugoi desu yo. Ooh, interesting moral. Cool. Unified dynasty. Wow. As opposed to now that where they're not unified. That's what it's all about, right, Frieren? Ooh, wait, what are you stepping on? Oh, never mind, okay. I thought you were gonna step on a trap, but okay. Oh, don't trigger that flag. What are you doing? Ooh, this is interesting. Now you've won. But demo. I knew she was gonna find it interesting. Beat yourself, Frieren. Oh, okay, so it's a real door. Mimics. Ain't gonna work, I'm sure. Alright. Whoa, holy shit. Gee, big. Actually big. I mean, I know Frieren is small, but still. Alright, no dice. Was that another? Fan is really persistent. Oh, yeah. Land. Oh, okay. So it's questionable if she actually came down here. Yeah, that is also a problem. If it's actually a mind or if it's just a program that's being... Oh, are they fighting themselves as well? No, they're fighting Sensor. They're fighting Sensor. Holy shit. Fuck me, dude. They've lost. Holy shit. I mean, that might be true, but... Hmm. Yeah, we already mentioned that the problem with creating something out of nothing is more resource heavy than manipulating something that's already there. Ran past it. Says a lot about Sensor, doesn't it? Might be because it shares the character. Pacifist. At least he admits it. And that is a high risk. And there we go. We had that already. We gotta hit it hard enough. Alright. Holy shit. They took their chances and she wasn't fast enough. Ouch. Oh, she can still talk? That was a pierced heart. A couple of them almost did. Nah, those two are gonna reach it, I'm pretty fucking sure. I don't know about those two, we haven't even seen them. Holy shit, bro, what are you? Bro's crestfallen warrior over here. Alright, in the box. Exactly, assume the worst. I'm pretty sure she can do it. She plus Fern? It's easy, right? Frieren plus Fern versus Frieren means Frieren's gonna lose. They're not thinking. Oh, I love this music. And strike back. Alright, flush her out. They're having like the... Right, do they possess higher strategies? And the answer is probably not. They lack the meta cognition, which I really love. Frieren's like, alright, go ahead, we'll do this. Exactly. I love how much trust Frieren has in Fen. Just the sheer amount of the Fen goes out, then she's like, I might be able to do it. Frieren's like, okay, let's sit down and talk about it. It's incredible how she developed into a teacher. Because she wasn't a teacher before she parted ways with the Heroes Party. Before Himmel died. She was an equal companion, right? And before that she was a pupil with Flum. But now she's a teacher and she does her job great, right? She grew into it. It proves that there's always something we can learn, and there's always someone we can grow into if we look for it. And I think this picture symbolizes this perfectly, in my opinion. Just how it is, right? Like, this is the centerpiece of our story. It might not be the only thing that's important in our story. We have a whole cast of characters that are super interesting and that do interesting things, that have interesting backstories and motivations, but this is the center of our story. It's Fen and Frieren. And it's probably always going to be that way. Stark maybe as a very, very strong third protagonist in a way, right? I'm sure there's going to be arcs coming up that are all around Stark and not around Fen and Frieren, but it started out with Fen and Frieren. Fen being in the first episode of the show. And it's gonna end with Fen and Frieren. Even though the cast around them will probably be larger at this point and will meet and part ways with a lot of characters. This is the center of our story. Alright. See you folks back on YouTube. Well, we're gonna talk about it, and then talk about what might be upcoming in the next episode. I can't wait, because this is an interesting twist with Fen being like, I could do it. Super interesting. Alright, let's talk about this, shall we? We do start out with a little bit of a recap, right? Not recap, but we'll see a couple of scenes, and holy shit, look at this design. Like the round room and the sign in the middle of the big circle, and we do have, it kind of reminds me of, if you guys have played, or any of you have played Hogwarts Legacy, there is the circle in the middle of the room of requirement that you can kind of do your own thing in. It's really cool. Kind of reminds me of that, one of the designs on that. Looking really nice. Compact. Cut that out. And again, we always have interesting angles. From down to upwards, we focus on Frieren's flowing twin tails. Denken's looking up from down. And we do have that hovering nightmare of an opponent. And we cut to the OP, right? Really cool. And we have a little bit of exposition, right? 𝐏𝐢𝐏 talking with one of the other people who are, in my opinion, first-class mages. I do believe there's first-class mages, probably. This could be Lannon. We don't know. It could be somebody else. And we do have what is the name? Spiegel, the water mirror fiend. Spiegel means mirror. Or if you say spiegeln, it means to mirror something, to reflect something. And yeah, water mirror fiend. Interesting that there's all these terms that are being associated with it, and apparently Spiegel was in 𝐏𝐢𝐏 heroic tales, right? So it's a mythical creature almost, and that is why nobody ever reached the bottom. So I do wonder why Sensei wants to be down there, because supposedly she hasn't been down there herself. That is something we didn't know before. And we do have this amazing mural that looks amazing. I wonder if that is 𝐏𝐢𝐏. I wouldn't think so, but we don't have, I don't think we have a gender for 𝐏𝐢𝐏, unless Heiter spoke about 𝐏𝐢𝐏 and actually mentioned in a sentence he or she. But it could be that 𝐏𝐢𝐏 was actually a girl that looks pretty much like Fan, not gonna lie. In many aspects, right? The hair and the general figure. And then we have the reflection of her. And in the middle we do have this huge source of energy that looks like the sun. Very, very cool. Reads the memories of those who enter the dungeon. Replicates the mana, the skills, the abilities, everything. It replicates everything on a physical level, which is insane. Defeating him without suffering casualties requires cool headed self-analysis and teamwork. And she would probably put that to the test. I love the lighting in this room, right? We do have like a marble almost ceiling here, and the two blue lights being up. It almost looks like you're looking at a water surface. And from there we go into the Frieren just lifting her staff, being like, alright, time to terminate. He's like, that ain't good. We should get the fuck out of there. And he's right, because that moment, the flash of lightning, and look at the keyframe. Holy shit, that is so amazing, right? 1, 2, and we go into color mode. It bursts out like a, I don't know, fucking cruise missiles going out. Holy shit, look at that. Look at that light show. And all they can do is flee and not get hit by this thing. Denken already had a taste of that earlier in the first exam. But this is so many beams. This is like taking what Fan did and take it times 10 or something. Holy fuck. Dodging and weaving and falling so you won't be hurt. Holy. And we end on this shot of Laufen being upside down, and I guess we passed the door to the next room, and we just get the hell out of Dodge and try to survive this shit. Insane. And here we have it. This is the person actually standing standing opposite of them in the intro. It's Frieren. I thought it was Serie, but I was a little bit off. It's actually Frieren wie Frieren. Holy fuck. Or Fan wie Frieren in this case. We'll talk about like the trust between Fan and Frieren later on, when we get to the point where she suggests actually taking her on. Really cool. They're getting cornered by somebody who's like 𝐸𝐏, right? Likes to play with her prey. And she calls him Megame, and he's like, dude, I have a name. Girl, I have a name. Kind of tells me that he is bothered if I mean, I don't know. It's the kind of bothered that most of the time is like you have a nickname and you're like, I technically don't like that nickname. I don't mind being called that nickname by that person specifically, but I'm still gonna complain because technically I don't like it. And I do have a name. I like to be respected in that regard. He obviously doesn't know that she doesn't disrespect him in that way, but and he's like, you're really chatty. So he's observing her closely as well, right? He is an observer. We know that he's observing everybody around him, but he might be a little bit interested too. The rope tightens, right? The connection gets closer and closer. And we know how it happened. She's surprised, like the the mannequin surprised her, or surprised him and her, surprised them together, and drove them into a corner. And it's wary of the of 𝐷𝐷𝐬𝐿, the restriction spell, which 𝐕𝐵 had problems with when 𝐕𝐵 used it in the exam. And she's like, either that or it's enjoying tormenting us. And you're like, come on, stop joking. He's slowly bleeding out. She's like, you won't last long. Is this the real you, right? And she's like really suspecting this might not be the case. And she's like, here, take my flask, which in my opinion, well, it could be on two levels, right? On one level, it might be her testing if it's really him, because she thinks maybe he would take the flask if that's the case, or no, not take the flask if that's the case, right? If this was an actual clone. Or it might be her actually being selfless in this situation and caring enough about him to say, look, you're wounded, you're about to die, get the hell out of here. I'll try to find a way to get past my other self. She's like, okay, I'll leave it here. And that's interesting. She leaves it here. She's risking her life, and that's what she's shown throughout the time we've actually gotten to know her. She it is prone to risky behavior, and she's asking herself later on in the combat, by the way, love that way. She's just cruising around the corner here. If you look at it, he's like, hey, wait, don't go out there without your thing. And we see that in a couple of frames she's going, oh yeah, here we see it, right? Funny how it looks, right? If you just stop it at the right moment, it looks so weird, but it works, right? You only see like a scheme of somebody that approximately would match what she's looking like, and then she gets into frame, and you see her stopping at this point, and you see her full design. If you actually, in my opinion, it would look a lot less impressive if you actually drew it out. In some regard, it might even look choppy, right? It might even look weird if you just play her very fast, but each frame actually has her having a full design. Not only would it be a lot of work for the animators, but also I think it would look weird in some regard, because the way she's animated here, the way she's drawn here, actually makes it easier for us to imagine this quick flip happening, right? It's a good representation. Oh, holy shit. That must be, I don't know if it's rotoscoping, but it reminds me of what MAPPA is doing a lot, and I know MAPPA is doing a lot of rotoscoping. It definitely uses a decent amount of CGI, I think. Maybe not CGI, but yeah, this is very, you see how it's different from the animation in the other frames. You go for that first person kind of view, and through the smoke, it almost makes a little lotus flower or something, and then it dissipates and goes right in, but the other person obviously also closed the gap. This is what she expected, and they're kind of chickening each other to use 𝐷𝐷𝐬𝐿, and whoever miscalculates is the first one to lose. And she's like, I've always been kind of unlucky, and if it comes to it and we just fight one-on-one, I'm used to being unlucky. When it comes down to luck, I'm probably gonna lose. The funny thing is, in my opinion, if it's a perfect replica, the replica is always gonna be unlucky, right? If you want to see it that way. But she fights like there's no tomorrow, right? She has no desire to fight herself, but she also sees that maybe it also has the desire to die to a degree. And that was an interesting kind of line she had, where she was like, I don't even know where it actually came up. Close the gap. We're right here on closing the gap. We talk about 𝐷𝐷𝐬𝐿. We go on. The choreography is amazing, right? And it all makes sense, right? The weaving, the dodging, the weaving, the way she moves. Holy shit, right? The shock waves coming towards one another and then intertwining. Holy fuck. And exploding. Bam! Look at that. This has weight. This has weight to it. Look. Slight bend, right? To represent how fast and strongly it's being hit in. We go towards one another, and here's the impact frame. We have the sparks flying, and bam! They're already back, right? The staffs are already being pushed back. And we're raging against one another. Everything is just crackling. Always been unlucky, always been unlucky. And the hair being cut off slightly, and she's going in, she's enjoying that. But she says she has no desire to fight herself. You must really want to die. And that kind of struck with me, right? She has a lot of sadism in here, but there's also a little bit of, I don't know, self-punishment. Guilt. We don't know where it comes from. Maybe you will never know, but she has that inclination, right? Risk-taking behavior due to some things that she experienced. But she takes that. She's like, my luck sucks. But and the shot through the legs. Holy shit, dude. We're getting all the fan service here. Yeah, and she counted on that. She counted on that. 𝐿𝐏 turns around, and replica 𝐿𝐏 turns around, and that's it. 𝐸𝐏 breaks and she can't strike. Even the flask was a fake. And Land cares enough to actually save 𝐿𝐏, and I don't know if it would have been that way for everybody. But as she says, he's the kind of person who don't like people dying unnecessarily, and especially not due to him. So she kind of guessed right and was like, but she says things, and that is very important here, very important moment. She said, like, I used that situation, I was sure you wanted to save me. And then she turns around with that almost, it's not even a mean smile in this case. She has that mean smile, even if she smiles normally, but that is a different smile than the one she's always shown, and that is, right, arigato. And it's genuine, in my opinion. It's genuine. And she's like, I learned something more about you. He's like, you got enough yet? She's like, nah, a little longer. Leans in, right, playfully. Again, we had that last time, playfully. I love them, right? I love them. Third favorite ship after 𝐏𝐏 and Frieren and Fen and Stark. Really cool. Maybe even my second favorite ship. might become. Frieren finds the hidden room. She's the expert in exploring dungeons, thanks to 𝐏𝐏. It looks like, in design-wise, it almost looks like the thing that you go in Elden Ring, where you go into the Earth Tree. So very cool design. Wonder if they kind of, I don't know if they copy that from that, because Frieren the manga actually must have already been at that place when Elden Ring came out. I'm not sure how the timeline on this is. Look at that big grin of Frieren. I do love it. And we come to this mural, a little moment that feels awe-inspiring, right? Like, that kind of gives you pause for a second, because we discover something really beautiful, something ancient that maybe even just a handful of people when it was originally made have seen it. Such well-preserved mural of the unified dynasty. And yeah, Fen really enjoying herself, and Frieren being like, this is what it's all about. I thought, like, right there, we turned around and we were like, okay, let us go. And I thought actually that this would be a moment where a trap was gonna get triggered, but it was actually just a cool way to transition and have her shoes be used as the transition point. our progress is unnaturally smooth, and then they come upon upon this group, and they're like, "Hey, what's up? Why are you not going on?" And then it's like there's a monstrosity over there in the room, and Frieren's like, "Ooh, this is gonna be juicy. It's gonna get juicy." And she smiles. This is interesting. Like, this is how conquering a dungeon should be, because it's an actual challenge this time. It's herself, right? Direct replica. She's like, there's nothing, right, where she can be like, "Oh, I'm above this." Genuine, and holy shit, this is gonna be a cool thing. And what a cool element, right? To bring that in and be like, alright, there's this character who almost nobody can beat, right? 11 people. And who is stronger than most of the people alive. Maybe even everybody alive. And you have that throughout most of the story, and at the end you get to an arc where suddenly that character's gotta face themselves. And not in a psychological way, maybe also, right? We can play upon that, be like, alright, this is also kind of her trying to dig into who she is and whatnot, but also just in a physical way, and that's a cool thing, right? If there's nobody who's your match, and suddenly you go up against yourself. And we talk about it, we're like illusion magic, and holy shit, mama. Ara. She's so big. In comparison to Frieren, even in comparison to Fan, I think, almost. She has to kneel down to kind of talk to her. But Fan speaks super possessive, and I absolutely love it. She's like, my Frieren, go away, it's my Frieren. She did that with Stark before, and I thought it was because she thought Stark was having impure thoughts. And yes, she put that in front where she said like ecchi, but I think it was more like her just wanting to hawk Frieren for herself, which is very, very cute behavior. But yeah, we're talking about it. Maybe we could do it with like hypnosis magic if there's an expert, and 𝐏𝐢𝐏 is one. But they're going up against 𝐸𝐬𝐴. Ain't no way this was gonna end well. We go through it again, right? Physical magic. Yeah. Physical magic and the strength of senses magic that she explains right here. Layers of magic cast on its head. Probably has numerous methods it could use to fight inside this dungeon. Yeah. You gotta get the shot. 15 seconds. This is all we're gonna get. We're gonna risk it. We're gonna go in, right? We do have that cool explosion here, where everything just breaks apart, right? Boom. Love it. And she glides down and is throwing that at her, right? All of these moving elements. I love that, right? When rubble and everything else is flying around, and you do have a lot of cool moving elements. Camera shake. Senses design is amazing, right? It's just the right amount of moe and but also kind of coldness to make a really nice gap if you want to. And she comes flying like a rocket ship, going in with her weird hair powers. Some people will have like a field day with this visual. Some specific kind of people, knowing the anime community. But yeah, we're going in. First point of view, going in. Your drill is the drill that will pierce the heavens, or in this case, the shield. High number of attacks. And strong attacks, both of it at the same time, right? And I love the frills, right? It kind of reminds me of how they drew Rag in the Dawn of the Deep Soul movie when he had his weird crazy mode. And she's like, kneel. No. Girl, just say, bitch, I won't. Holy shit. Pierce the heart. Shot through the heart, and you're to blame. Yeah. That's it. And she knows when to quit, right? She putting the golem on, and they're fleeing, and I'm like, holy shit. Nobody's gonna make it down there. But I bet they are gonna make it down here. and I bet Frieren and Denken's group are gonna make it through. And him, I mean, sorry, dude. What am I supposed to say to this? You're gonna fuck around, you're gonna find out. That's what I'm gonna say to this. Crestfallen Warrior, holy shit, this is a Dark Souls shot if I ever seen one. A lot of those are Dark Souls shots, it's really cool. And we have the top-down shot with the perfectly, or almost perfectly square room, and the group talking to one another, really cool. Frieren sitting there being like, oh boy, I can't wait. I can't wait for this to happen. And then we have the suggestion, right? Frieren's like, I don't know if I can beat myself, and Fen's like, I'm willing to try. Or no, she actually says that a little bit later on. Again, really cool animation. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. I do love that there's this element of, yeah, they are our exact replicas, and maybe they can even to a degree work together, right? And set up an ambush or whatever. But they don't work together just as well as we do, because we do have that metacognition in there. We can think about how to think about it, right? And if we do know that this is a program in a way, right? This is just a replica that is kind of just acting on, like an AI, right? Acting on behavior that is most common to this person specifically and to this group of people specifically, and it's like, okay, this is how they would work together. You can kind of take a twist onto that and change your your normal strategy and find a way to actually overcome this by applying a different strategy. This was one of the suggestions I made when it was coming to 𝐲𝐿, where I was like, maybe 𝐲𝐿 needs to fight like she's normally not fighting. Obviously that would make her weaker on one level because she's more used to fighting the way she's normally fighting, but on the other hand it would surprise the other 𝐲𝐿, right? Yeah. But we can make it happen, and Fen's like, I'ma kill myself an archmage. And Frieren likes that. I love how immediately like she reacts for a second and she's like, alright, this will be fun. I'll support you. Let's think about a strategy. And I love that. ReZero does that a lot, right? People being reflected in one's eyes. But yeah, that is your mentor trusting you to give it a hard try, right? Maybe she does even think maybe she can do it, maybe she can't. And they're trying to come up with a strategy, and she's like, you know what? Even if you can't do it, at the very least, maybe we find out more stuff, or maybe you get her down to a level where the rest of us can swoop in and help you. But either way, you think you can take this on and can give this a fair shot. I'm gonna give you that shot, and I'm gonna trust you not to die from my replica, which is an enormous amount of trust and proves how close Fen and Frieren are in the end. Amazing episode. As always, I'm not used to anything else by Frieren. I think there was like 1 or 2 episodes in Frieren where I was not absolutely blown away. That was kind of like a more calm episode. I remember the one with Kraft where I was like, okay, this is a cool episode, but it didn't give me what I needed. It had a lot of atmosphere, which I liked, but it didn't have the substance I needed to a degree. It did set up that substance for subsequent episodes and other arcs where we called back to that, and that was the cool thing that gave that more depth. But this episode with Kraft, the first episode where we met Kraft, and 1 or 2 other episodes in between, I wasn't all that gripped. I do remember there was always interesting things to talk about, but either way, like, all the rest of the episodes have been absolutely incredible, and maybe episode 18 not quite as, right, because it was setting up the entire mage exam arc, and there was a lot of exposition going on and a lot of just setup. But either way, it was amazing in general all throughout the series, and there's rarely any series that I feel has been this consistent with its quality of music, its quality of animation, of the quality of atmosphere, its density when it comes to emotional themes, its ability to seamlessly transform itself within the same episode, from one theme to the next, and establish that connection to past episodes and set up connections to future episodes. Absolutely great, and it makes sense in many ways from narrative standpoint as well. Oftentimes you're like, okay, of course that makes sense, right? As it is with the Frieren replica right now, of course it makes sense that she would meet her equal, basically, in a sense, or that they as a group would meet the most powerful mage we as the audience know, right? Whenever you have like a villain setup or an opponent or whatever in the past, it was like, okay, this opponent is really strong, but I ain't worried about Frieren. I said so in episode, I think, 8, 9, 10, whatever. When the demons came up, I ain't worried about Frieren. She's got this. But now, right? I mean, together, I'm also not worried that they're gonna do it together, right? That they're gonna manage to actually succeed in that. But the main problem is gonna be, is anybody get taken out, right? Is anybody gonna get hurt or fail the mage exam, has to pull out, whatever? We had that over here, like top class mages that had to break the bottle and get back because there was no other choice for them. Yeah, that's been Frieren episode 24. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next episode and see how Fan does against Frieren as the final boss, the final raid boss. And yeah, I hope you'll hop along. Leave me a like if you like it. If you wanna not miss the next episode, subscribe to the channel. Always trying to be a little bit communicative on the community page as well, in case anything is coming up or something is gonna be delayed, or whenever I feel people aren't aware of something being on Patreon. That's also sometimes the case. Yeah, check out my Discord, check out my Patreon. Links are in the description down below. And until next time, thanks to my patrons, by the way.